minerals, which are quite rare to find. They get sent to the groin because, in the production of semen and sperm, because it is the body's innate intelligence wants to procreate. It's going to take the idea of procreating over your long-term health. So it's going to pull nutrients out of your body if you don't have enough of them. Almost like an osmosis type effect, that if you're continuously expelling your seminal fluid, you're going to be losing the zinc, you're going to be losing the magnesium, you're going to be losing the amino acids from your body to send to that area of the body. Now someone who's eating a ton of superfoods, a ton of adaptogenic herbs, and all these things that provide these things for their body, and they're getting enough calories, they're probably not going to notice a huge change in the way they feel. Or they might to some extent because they're more aware and sensitive to their body, but people who generally eat a lot and have a lot of the intake of these nutrients have an easier time with this. However, my argument is that why continuously have that exchange happening when you could build these nutrients up in your body to have better health? And also the simple process of manufacturing and the enzymatic activity that's required to create seminal fluid builds up over time, like that large amount of volume of seminal fluid that I was talking about. Now, if you want to see a complete list of all the nutrients that are contained in the seminal fluid, I've posted a long list in the info box on the side. You just click more info. I mean, if I can get it to appear on the screen here, I will. If it's going to work, I'll just have it flashing before you. I don't know if that's going to be legible enough, so just check it out in the sidebar there, or if you're watching this on my blog, it's going to be posted below. So the nutrient density in seminal fluid is often said to be 60 times more concentrated than blood. If you take the nutrient profile of blood, it's very similar to seminal fluid, except seminal fluid is just much more concentrated. So you've got the lipids, you've got the zinc, you've got the phosphorus, you've got all these different enzymes and other cofactors, prostaglandins. But in the seminal fluid, it's just like really tightly packed. So 3 cc's of seminal fluid that is gone in the emission is a lot more when you times that by 60 and think of that as how much blood you're losing, if you want to think of it that way. The seminal fluid is also remarkably similar to the nutrient composition of the brain. So this is where that idea that you can get stupid by excessive ejaculation. Some people might think this is a far cry or a far-fetched theory, but if you're, like I said, continuously losing those nutrients and spending them willy-nilly, your body's going to take the precedence of procreation over the quality and health of your brain and your body. Obviously your body's not going to drain your body of resources to the point where you die, and quite likely you're just going to have poorer and poorer quality semen as those you become depleted in these resources. But we want to build our body with what we call Jing, and this Jing is in the fluids of the seminal plasma, it's in the joints, it's in the cerebrospinal fluid, it's in the brain, it's in the blood. So all the fluids in the body do have similar nutrient qualities and densities, and we want to preserve those. That's the idea of the Taoist practice, that's the idea of building ojas in tantric principles, and it's a very realistic and practical thing we can pursue if we're wanting long-term health. To give you perspective on just a few of the key nutrients that are quite rare in the body but are found in high quantities in the seminal fluid, is number one would be zinc. You hear this a lot. Male health is dependent on zinc. The RDA for males is around 15 milligrams. I personally think it should be a little higher. Zinc is also a key mineral in a lot of proteins that repair DNA. They're called zinc-dependent proteins. And so we obviously want enough of this in our body to continually repair our body, to have sexual health, and all the other functions and roles that it has in the body. So in one typical ejaculation there is about 5 milligrams of zinc. So that's a third of the RDA. So if you're only just barely meeting your RDA of zinc, yet you're ejaculating every other day, you're going to lead to deficiency just right there. However, you can eat certain foods like He Shou Wu, which is also known as foti, and this is a Chinese herb. It's one of my favorite herbs. It's very high in zinc. It's one of the highest plant sources of zinc. It's comparable, actually it's on par with oysters, which a lot of people are touting as great for zinc, and if you want to eat oysters you can. But personally, He Shou Wu, for me, tastes better, It's got a number of other factors. It builds yin Jing, and it's probably much cheaper. I don't know the prices of oysters these days, but if you're not living right on the coast of where they grow, you're not getting them fresh. They're not going to be good for you, and you definitely want to eat oysters raw as well. But yeah, if you want to find some He Shou Wu, my friend Brandon Damon at Hyperion Herbs sells some great He Shou Wu extract that you can just add to smoothies, to water if you want to drink it like that. And you can find that link in the right-hand info box. I also have a link there on an article on my website which I talk about this amazing superior tonic herb. It's one of the top 5 herbs in Chinese medicine. And you can find out more about it because it's just a phenomenal herb to explore. Another great source of zinc is pumpkin seeds. Just eat raw pumpkin seeds, a few every day. And we want to get several sources of zinc, not just be dependent on one. So some other exceptional sources of plant-based zinc are broccoli sprouts, Brussels sprouts, cabbage sprouts, garlic sprouts, onion sprouts, nettle root, as well as watermelon seed. And interesting, we think of watermelon seeds, we know that they have that black color to them. And it's often that black colored foods are quite high in zinc. Another one would be black sesame seeds. It's got molybdenum and zinc in it. And dark foods in Chinese medicine were often referred to as Jing building foods, and Jing is that sexual essence, and that is zinc is a key mineral for that. So there's an interesting interplay between old world esoteric type concepts as well as newer scientific understandings of these things. The next nutrient that I find fascinating as to its nutrient density in the seminal fluid is prostaglandins. Prostaglandins are little chemicals that are made from essential fatty acids. Actually, 3 specific ones that are quite rare in most people's diets. We've got GLA, gamma-linolenic acid, we've got arachidonic acid, and we've also got EPA, which is an omega-3 fatty acid found in algae. And people often tout fish as being a great source of this, but algae is the original source. We may as well get it on the lowest form of the food chain so we're not getting toxicity. And it's also the least likely to be spoiled by oxidation when it's found in the algae because there's the high antioxidant levels. So these 3 fatty acids combine in the body when it's made to become prostaglandins. And prostaglandins are able to work on a wide variety of tissues in the body to create beneficial effects. Interestingly, the majority of animal species on the planet make extremely small amounts of them or none at all. It's actually made in the most quantity in certain animals, higher animals such as rabbits, certain monkeys, sheep, and by far it's in the highest levels in humans. And actually women make a certain amount of it that's more than these animals, but men make up to 400 times more than women. It's kind of interesting that it's a very male hormone. It's called prostaglandins because it was originally thought to be made in the prostate, but it's actually a large, something like 95% of it in men is made in the seminal vesicles, which is where the semen is produced. Now, these, like I was saying, these specific molecules work throughout the body to do things like regulate blood pressure, regulate intraocular pressure. So this is, again, tying into one of those old wives' tales that you can go blind from excessive masturbation or ejaculation. And if we don't have enough prostaglandins, we can actually lose the ability to regulate the pressure of fluids inside our eyes, which obviously can lead to poorer vision and, down the road, possibly blindness. So then some other things that prostaglandins regulate are cell growth, calcium uptake and use, the hormonal regulation, platelet aggregation, which is the ability of your blood to clot and form scabs, but if it's clotting excessively inside your body, you're going to end up with blood clots, which can lead to heart attacks and strokes. Also, neurotransmitter health, and specifically serotonin has a key biochemical link-up with prostaglandins. So we can actually think of prostaglandins as a serotonin-like chemical in that stress defense shield that keeps us easily able to deal with stresses in our lives.